right, Hong Kong, what is it known for? It's a shopping mecca. In fact, latest statistics reveal that about 54% of tourist expenditure is on shopping. That's very different to many other places where accommodation is the main tourist expenditure. What I'm going to be looking at today is one aspect of shopping, buying counterfeit goods while you're on holidays. I've done some research on this. So let's define counterfeits. Counterfeits are the imitation, sometimes called knockoffs, fake goods. Fake goods are goods that are imitation. So they have a lot of the characteristics of the usually internationally branded products, designer labels, and these have been knocked off or copied. Now there's two types of counterfeits. One is deceptive counterfeits. This is where the consumer doesn't know that it is fake. They think it's the real good. The other one is non-deceptive counterfeits. Non-deceptive counterfeits is where the consumer knows that the product is fake. Now, how can they tell? They can tell because of things like cues, things like location, such as in the markets. They can tell because of the price. For example, let's say a Rolex is tens of thousands of dollars, and a Rolex in the markets might be $10. Then, of course, that gives you a clue that this is not the genuine article, that it's a knockoff. Hello.
Hello.
What types of the brands this?
Which one?
Yeah.
Yeah, which one? Okay, which one?
Who makes it? Is this Louis Vuitton?
Vuitton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Louis Vuitton?
Yeah.
What about Gucci? Do you have that?
Gucci right here.
Yes.
That one is small one. Here, Gucci.
Is that Gucci? Oh yeah. Yeah. How much are these?
280.
280 Hong Kong dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, Hong Kong dollar.
Is that a good price?
Yeah.
All right. Are they real or real?
US dollar?
No. Are they genuine? Is it really Gucci?
Yeah, Gucci. Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
All right, they're really Gucci. Okay.
Yeah. Which one?
I like a lot of them.
Yeah, which one okay for you? Your favorite one?
Oh, not a big one, no. Well, yeah, maybe I'll have a look at this one.
Very nice.
Good quality?
Good quality.
Yeah.
You 仲要 very nice， 仲要 long 啊。
Oh yeah.
Here long.
Okay.
Very nice. Okay for you?
I don't know if it's real or not.
Okay.
Second only to China, Hong Kong is the place to go if you want to get counterfeits. What are some of the common products? Electronic goods are very highly copied, as well as designer fashion wear. I just had a look at that Gucci bag. I don't know if you picked it up, but they were offering me 250 Hong Kong dollars, about 35 USD for a Gucci. I now asked if it was real, and they said yes. My guess is definitely a fake. Now, what's the problem with counterfeits? Is it problematic? Well, it can be problematic for the designer brands. They're missing out on a lot of revenues by people buying the counterfeits instead of buying the genuine article. It's a question of intellectual property rights and losing those. And since it's illegal in most places, the question of ethics comes into play. Should we buy counterfeit goods and rip off the designer labeled goods? This is a question that tourists have to ask themselves. Now, my research has found from tourists coming from countries that have strong intellectual property rights and counterfeits aren't available, that they're keen to buy counterfeits when they go to places like Hong Kong and China and Thailand. But for the Chinese, we found they didn't want to buy counterfeits. They wanted the genuine article for bragging rights, for status rights. So we see some quite different reactions from tourists from different countries, depending on what their home situation was. Now, the term used in the literature to describe tourists rationalizing their decisions is called neutralization, and tourists have been shown to neutralize the behavior in a couple of different ways. One is known as everybody's doing it, so I should, which is fairly self-explanatory. Another one relates to that condemn the condemner. So these designer label brands are using child labor or some such to make their products. So why not just buy the counterfeits and make them lose money? Relatedly, they already make big bucks. It doesn't matter if I buy some counterfeits. It won't hurt them. There's no damage to the brand. Now, one question about this illegal behavior, or at least immoral behavior, is what sort of impact does it have on the tourist experience? Well, we found in our research for the tourists who didn't buy counterfeit, they didn't really care if counterfeits were available. But for the tourists that did buy, it made it a more exciting shopping experience. How should the authorities react to this? Should they punish the tourists for buying it? Should they punish the sellers for selling these goods? Should they stop the supply, or should they stop the demand? Or should they stop both? In Hong Kong, there's been a couple of news articles about stopping this business because of the lost revenues for the designer brands. It's big business. In fact, the amount of money spent in the past year on counterfeits is... So there you have it, a bit of a discussion on tourists buying counterfeits. Is it ethical? Should they do it? Does it enhance the experience? Does it make it worse? What's the impact on the local businesses, these designer brands? These are some of the things that we discuss in the research that we've done. So if you want to know more about it, read the article. So what would you do in this situation? When you go on holidays to places that sell counterfeits, would you buy it? Do you like the excitement of getting a Rolex for $100 instead of $20,000? Do you like the knockoff branded stuff? And then if you buy it, do you go home and tell your friends and family it's a real one? Or are you proud that you bought the knockoff for very cheap?